Hi, welcome to episode 4 in our series of informative videos for startups, scale-ups, those seeking investment and exit plans. We've covered a number of different things, but one of the things I'm frequently asked about is what's the roadmap to investment? What should I be doing? How do I prepare? How do I access funders? We have a short space of time to cover quite a multitude, so hopefully this is a whistle-stop tour to understand a little bit more about the roadmap. So the first one is legal preparation. It's about buying a car. You go and look under the hood. If there's oil, you look deep. If everything's immaculate, you feel it's transparent and concise and you proceed. So audit yourself. Are there any red flags, concerns, missing documents? Let us find them, let us resolve them before the investor does. Have you got actually executed and dated documents? A lot of the time draft documents are supplied with no dates, they're not executed, and that raises red flags. And are they up to date? You know, it could be that you've been running your business for 2 years and things have changed. Perhaps we need to go back and update them. Employment contracts, terms and conditions. Let's do some legal preparation by actually auditing and sanitising your documents. Now, we all know that we look for tax efficiency and structures to help minimise tax as we grow our business, but anything over complex could put investors off. So if you've got spouses, actually as company secretaries or employees, you've got any offshore structures, we need to actually look at that to see if we can undersimplify it, shall we say. You need to make sure that your cap table, your articles and your shares are all mirrored, all consistent and particularly registered correctly at Companies House. Shareholders agreements are very important for a growing business, and it's this document that an investor is going to pretty much buy into. So you need to make sure you've got your drag along. You need to make sure that the controls are in there for you as a founder to be protected. So this is a document you're going to present to them to join. So you want it to be favourable to you, but battle lines are going to be drawn. There are going to be compromises that you need to make, and that's a decision you're going to have with your fellow founders before going into the investment pool. How much control you're going to give away, what terms and benefits are you willing to compromise. These are very important and must be negotiated in the shareholders agreement to protect you as a founder. Ideally, you will have a director's service level agreement which you will present, and if not, I strongly suggest you have one. This sets out clearly your role. It gives leaver provisions to protect you from them actually removing you from the business and perhaps retaining your shares if you are asked to leave. It enables you to stay in the business and help have some control in the way it grows. Investors will impose terms, of course they will, but the more you've got there with your salaries, your holidays, the harder it is actually to impose terms that you have already in place. And that's something I strongly advise you put in. Intellectual property, we've discussed this in detail previously, that this only passes in ownership in writing. So please make sure you as founders have passed in writing your IP to the company so that your IP portfolio is available to the investor. If anybody has created your intellectual property, you should make sure you have a contract, again, passing ownership, so it's not held to ransom by any unpaid invoices, for example. And employees should have their intellectual property designs created while working for you, made sure that that's passed over to you in their contracts. If you are allowing anyone to use your intellectual property, make sure you've got license agreements. Again, just to give comfort to the investor that the goodwill, the brand, the money they're investing into the business because of the intellectual property is soundly owned by the business. Many companies start with model articles and perhaps fail to adapt these later on. We do need to look at these carefully to see, are you able to permit new directors? Are you able to allocate new shares? What resolutions and minutes are actually needed, as well as amending the articles. So we would actually do our due diligence, we would audit, we would review, we would amend. Then we would do all the resolutions, the minutes and the filings to make sure everything flows through consistently before and during and after the investment process. Take advice how to protect yourself as a founder, as we've already discussed, not only in the shareholders agreement, but moving forward, just so you're comfortable and you're in the driving seat now and after investment. Be really clear how to prepare and what you need. The more informed you are, the more prepared you are, the better you appear to the investor, but also the more concise you come across and transparent, the more likely you are to get to a yes. If you can get an NDA to protect what you're discussing, I certainly recommend it. Some investors won't accept this, so do check who you're speaking to. They're not competitors, are they? Are you clear? What they're actually looking for is not just to look under your hood, but genuinely invest in you. Agent terms, make sure they're not erroneous. Try not to get exclusivity and be clear exactly what you're agreeing to. And then develop heads of terms. They don't have to be legally binding, but they give you some guidance of what you've agreed before you start the investment process. The key documents before you start, apart from all the preparation we've discussed, is a pitch deck. Remember, this is a teaser. This is to get you through the door. So it should be about the problem you're solving. The appetite for the investor will be within that document. You as a team, your experience, the money you're going to make, the forecasted projections, the size of the market. Once you're through the door and they're interested, that's when you drill down into the details of the business plan, where all the commercials and financials and promise letters will go. Your cap table will then align as to what they're offering you and what you're willing to accept. If you have a formal valuation, fantastic, but if not, have evidence of how you've got to what you're offering them. Don't just say it's worth £1 million and I want 10%. You really need to drill down and evidence how you got to that figure and why they should trust that figure. You will need to have a shareholders agreement, as we've discussed, and it's these terms that you will have to negotiate throughout the transaction as to what control they have, what kind of level of autonomy you still have. So really understand what they're looking for and understand what you're looking for. Is it passive money? Do you want someone on the board doing your financials and commercials? Do you want an angel who's going to open doors? It's really important you know exactly what you're looking for, that they understand you and the sector. Also, don't forget there are other options to investment, and you can use a mix of these as you go through investment. R&D, patent box, grants, debt financing, SEIS. There's a whole wealth of things that you can do out there, so please don't forget to look into these as well. They may be time consuming, but some of it's actually free money, so why wouldn't you? Make sure you take tax advice to structure the deal very early on. It needs to be tax efficient for you as a founder taking money out, for loan notes, for the exit plans. The more you understand the tax benefits and efficiency, the better it is for you. I would really get a handle on the due diligence process. It takes a lot longer than most people think. So understand the timeframes, what's going to be required. Seeking investment from an angel is far different to that of a VC. So please do understand the differences in their needs and their requirements. And have a plan B. What if they pull out of investment? What if they've told you it's 3 months but it takes 6 months? What's your runway? You're going to be doing all this whilst running the business, so don't take the eye off the business and don't forget plan B. So the next thing is accessing funders. What do they look for? Now, we do a lot of events, and I'm not saying this is a perfect science, as obviously they have different sectors and different needs, but essentially they need to know that this business is scalable, that we can take you out of the business at some point and the brand or the product or the business can stand alone, whether it's going overseas, whether it's volume. They really want concise information and transparency on the details, so you cannot hide things, you cannot just estimate, you have to be really concise and evidence your position. The team is absolutely essential. They really want to feel that you know what you're doing, that you're passionate about this, that you're going to go on the journey with them. And there's nothing wrong with selling yourself and boasting about your credentials, having a good advisory board with really strong people behind you. But also understanding your weaknesses. If you are not a finance person, don't pretend that you can do that on your own. Accept their help, to either buy in one of them to help you with that, or to obviously take on staff to do that. Be really clear how you're going to spend their money, because as soon as it hits the bank account, they don't want it sitting there for 6 months while you find technology staff. They want to know that you've got a recruitment agent, you've got someone to employ. They want to know that that money is going to be spent immediately for the purpose that you've stated and for the benefit of the company. It's really understanding the investor and which side they're looking for. So if it's an angel and they're going to open doors, have you really explored they can do that? If they're a VC, you have to understand they know their market. They're going to sit on the board. So when you present yourselves to them, understand who they are, what they're looking for, and be very clear. They'll want you to understand your market. You can't be so unique, there's no competition, but you are unique and you're going to beat them to market or be better. That's what they want to hear. Due diligence is time consuming, it's hard work. You can get stressed, you can get annoyed, but it has to be done, so be prepared. Go through it, persevere, get to a yes. Understand the timings, have some runway money, having a backup plan B. Running the business at the same time can be time consuming, so please do be prepared for that. Mix the options, as I've said, look at grant funding as well as investment. Many of us really do find it difficult to brag and to boast, but unfortunately when you're pitching, you've got to sell yourself, you've got to sell your business. Listen to their feedback, go back, regroup and go back again. You can go back as many times as possible, but ideally get it so good the first time, and if not, listen and then go back. It's never going to be a quick yes and a quick turnaround, so do think, do listen. Have you asked also for enough money? They want to know that you can pay your salary for the next few years, that you've got enough money to do what you're asking for. You don't want to be going cap in hand asking for more money. They want to know that you are taking this seriously. So there should be some initial monies in there. You should be putting your own money in there. You should be asking for enough. It sounds self-explanatory, but time and time again, I hear this from many of the funders. People are not asking for enough money. It really is a whistle-stop tour that I've given you, but that's really a route map, very, very thinly on the ground. So I'd love to speak to you in far more detail as to the whole process. We're happy to have a complimentary call. We have a lot of experience in this area, and I'd be very grateful to speak to you. Thank you.